if, my thing is, if you're delivering a message and you deliver it in a negative sense, you turn people off before they listen to the positive portion that you're trying to convey.
Okay.
So you find a way to do it in a very positive, smiling, demure manner, whereas people will listen to you and get the message.
Okay.
If you walk in being too itchy, people don't listen. They don't listen. They've already made their decisions and their ears turn off. So I want to be able to help people.
Excuse me, not to cut you off, but do you feel that working in the circle of men, that no matter what you do, they consider you that if you stand firm?
I think you know the answer to that because you knew me during my corporate days.
Yes.
And I was always
But that's for
me.
those that don't.
I was always me.
Yes.
I refused to be negative. I refused to give you ammunition that you
Right.
said I was just in a meeting with that itch.
Yes.
No, you were not. You
Yes.
were in the meeting and you were in the presence of a lady.
Yes.
A lady who knew exactly what she was talking about.
Right.
She's educated, she's beautiful, and she's magnetic. And that's
yes.
how I win them,
Yes.
is magnetism.
Yeah.
And the magnetism is positive. So I don't. I stay away from that totally. You know, and I know women that don't. I mean, they walk in, they're strong, they're this, they're that.
Right.
But then the same thing happens is nobody listens. They wonder why people don't listen to you. Well, you turn them off when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
So I want to get my message out, whether it be in the boardroom or whether it be in the hood. I want to be able to talk to our young people, our older people, our politically inclined, non-politically inclined, a community meeting or a conference room meeting. But you have to be able to have people listen to you. And in order for them to listen, they have to be on your side. And they're on your side, because see, when you look at a person, that's the first thing. That's why I tell our young people, when you go in for an interview, the visual is before the audio.
Yes. Yes.
They see you before they hear you. So if you walk in with this strong negative look or this frown or condescending look on your face, you've automatically turned people off. So always a smile, and always polite, and always respectful. And yes, I do have something to say, and yes, no, I respectfully oppose what you're saying. I mean, there's a way to tell people I don't agree with you,
Right.
rather than saying you don't know what that you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
I mean, it's easy to say that, but sometimes we have to be a little more, I guess, illustrative with our words,
Right.
and not come across the negative, but still come across as the winner.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can comment on that. In my opinion, there is fine line in that, because I've been in business, I've been author, and then also I'm from a different country, and some people look at me because it's my second language. Now I speak English good. Okay, you didn't want to hear me 7, 8 years ago. So my English wasn't that strong, but yet I was running a business.
Okay.
So what I think is it's really fine line. If you want to be the B word, whatever, you turn people off. And if you want to come across you're too nice, you could turn people off because they lose their respect because they think you don't know much.
Yes.
So I think it's a fine line. And if you know who you are, what you want, you can always deliver the message in a way, with the loving way. And I think people feel that and respect you for it. So stand up for what you believe. I stand up for what I want. I mean, I care what you think, but if I want my book to be this way, I stand up for it because that is my message. And if I don't stand up for it, one of the reasons I didn't want to go to a publisher in the beginning because I knew the publisher is going to tell me what to do.
Right.
And that's not my message. They're going to put their own message in my book. And I wanted to make sure when I'm ready to go to publisher, if I want them to do it a certain way, because that is what's coming to me, I want them to listen to my opinion. So I have to prove myself before I go out to the world. So I think it's a fine line. If you go this way, it's not good, and if you go this way, it's not good, the fine line, and stand up for what you believe. And if you don't stand up for what you believe, then you're robbing yourself from being successful
That I like.
and delivering your message. So just because I care what people are gonna think of me, and I'm not standing up, actually I'm robbing myself. So it's, the fine line is very important to think about.
And I've mastered the fine line.
Yes.
Yes.
I find that women are the ones that hurl that word
Yes.
at women far more often than men ever do. And it is my belief that we do that because if we see a woman who is standing in her power totally and completely, owning who she is, and we are not, it is somehow a reflection to us of where we have a deficit. So when we look at men that do the very same thing that women do, they call it assertive.
Yes.
And it is lauded and it is praised in men, even by women. And a woman can see a woman doing the very same thing, and there's something in her that will be repulsed by it. That's where I say we've got to do our own work. You gotta heal yourself. I cannot praise in you what I loathe in myself. I can't want for you what I don't want for myself. So, every time I hear that question, I hear it quite often about, us being called the B word. My response to that is we as women have to first stop using it against other women. And then we won't ever be able to see another woman that way. We won't be able to see ourselves that way. My 2 cents.
No, that was on. Listen, that adds up to $1.
Any other questions? Is for the women with children, because how do you swallow the guilt? Or how do you get over it if you have young children and you are, you're coming into your greatness or you're running your business, and then you have the kids and they're just kind of looking like, hello. And you're like, well, just one more file, just one more email. So how do you balance it, I guess? How do you balance it with the children?
Well, I have grown children myself, and it was very hard in the beginning, and especially in the era that I was raising my children, because it was a lot of times in the 80s and the power of the woman, and we wore shoulder pads, and we were still fighting for a lot in the corporate world and trying to compete with men. And when I was actually a single parent of 2 children for a long time, and I was going to school too. So when I did get my education and I ended up in a corporate job, when I had my business, it's kind of funny because when I had my business, I was able to be flexible, but yet I was passionate and I wanted to spend time in my business. But I was home and I was with my children. In the corporate world, it was, they don't care if you have children, and they come first, and there was times I was being pulled, and that was another reason why I had left corporate America, because I still had a young one at home. And it's a balance, and I think nowadays, I've been out of the corporate world, so maybe someone who's been in the corporate world can answer a little differently. I think nowadays it's a little bit easier because women are standing in their power a little more, and they're starting to say, no, my children come first, my family comes first. But I think it's like in everything, we need to learn our boundaries, and we need to respect ourselves enough to set those boundaries and know that, that our children, our family actually really do come first, because in the end of the day, that's what matters. And I know women who have lost their babies, even if it's 20 years old, but they've lost their children, their babies, and it's like, wow, you gave 80 hours at the corporate and here your child is gone. So I think putting things in perspective. But it was always about balance. I learned how to respect myself and my family in order to do that. It's hard, and like I said, I've been out of the corporate world a long time, so I'm just assuming that it's gotten easier. Because I know it was easier for me in the 80s because of my 4 sisters in the 60s, even though we were still fighting, for a lot of our rights. So that's mine.
I'd like to actually defer those of you who don't know, my baby girl is in the room. And may I?
Oh, yeah.
I would say, as a child of someone who is so successful, and somebody asked me this today, and so what I said to her, she said that she's had someone tell her, well, what about the kids at home? You know, aren't you going to be there for them because she decided to go back to school and she wants to pursue something greater? And I said, you are doing something for them because you have girls, so you are showing them what a woman can be and what a woman can do. So there are times, like I'm getting all emotional, when
That's love.
she worked more than one job. You know, she worked 2 or 3, and I didn't see her. And, you know, there were times where I was very angry with her when I was younger, and I have so much respect and admiration for her now because I see how this community embraces her, and I see everything that she has done. And I am who I am because of who she was and what she has chosen to do, and I wouldn't change any of that. You know, I know what a woman can be. I know where she's been, and I know where she is now. And as a parent, which I'm not, but you know, I know this is what parents want for their kids. You want your child to do better than you and to be better than you are and have a better education, you know, a better lifestyle, and that's what she did for me. I didn't go through a lot of the experiences that she went through because she worked so hard to make sure that I was okay. And I am where I am in the corporate world because of her and her pushing me and sacrificing for me. So it may seem like you're not there right now, but they take note of that. And they may rebel against you in their teenage years and say some things that are not so nice, you know, and make it feel like what you're doing is wrong, but in reality, you're empowering them and you're letting them see what they can become and even greater than that.
Thank you.
I'm looking around the room to see who actually has small children. My kids are 34 and 32. And I didn't know what I was doing raising those kids. I had them at like 19 and 21. I had no idea. I was managing doctor's offices and coming home and frustrated and working late, and the 3 of us were trying to survive this ugly, abusive man at home. I didn't have a clue. I was not powerful. I was not doing anything. And so there's moms out there that are like that they don't know what to do. And I'm very proud to say I have 2 amazing children who survived with me. You know, my daughter's living out her dream as an opera singer in San Diego, and my son is an amazing, quiet, all but Pisces guy that does graphic arts. As long as it's dark in the room, it's okay, right? And they are who they are, you know? And you know, I remember when I got divorced and I was a single mom for so many years, I would come home, and because I was in management, I would come home and my daughter would say, you run our family meetings like a business, and I can't, you know. But to this day, it's like, Lindsay, get off, you know, just be quiet, stop planning, stop doing, stop checking lists. But those are the things, you know, that they pick up. So we all, I don't know, I did not know what I was doing. I wasn't a professional, you know, I was a professional, but I was going off to a job every day. And coming home and making dinner and trying to survive.
That's kind of what Rose was saying, because she said I worked 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Before I hit the corporate ladder, I was working 2 or 3 jobs, I was a single parent and trying to raise kids and be by yourself. It's a challenge, but you know the love is there, the care is there, and as long as you teach them respect, and yes, they see that I'm doing the best for you as my family. And then, of course, when I did hit that corporate world, it was like, Mom, where are you? Mom, what are you doing? But they now and then benefited from me being there. My oldest daughter is, you know, she, unlike Rose, she never took the negative. She was like always right there with Mom, and can I help you with your makeup, and playing in my makeup, and you know, and my son now, the unfortunate thing is he's going through some negative family things because he learned from me to keep the family together. But every circumstance is different, and men, unfortunately, and please forgive me, men in the room, you have a hard time separating emotion from, we got to do this. Well, yes, you have to do this, but there's a way that you have to do it. And I try to explain that to him even now, you know. maybe you can't keep the family together, but you could still be there as a dad. But Mom, you worked, Mom, but Ma, you worked so hard and you kept all of us and you took care of all of us. But see, you can't do what I do.
And when, to your point, guilt. Guilt is when you get sentenced and you go to prison. That's guilt.
Okay.
We didn't wake up today and say we're going to rob the 7-Eleven.
Right.
All right. No, there's nothing for us to be guilty for. We did not. Nobody said you're guilty. So let that go, and know that have fun. We need to turn off as much as our kids need us to be there for them. So all of us, I don't care if your kids are older, younger, whatever, turn off. Spend time with Mom and Dad, spend time with the kids, spend time with the people you love. You need the time just as much as they do.
You know, one other thing you can do is do what I do is, you know, how we keep our calendar, our Blackberries, or back in the day, our paper calendars. I pencil in the time for each one of my children. We have dinner once a week. We have our night. I spend time with my oldest daughter once a week. We have our night. Most of ours is run in our restaurant. I go help her and we'll eat there, but it's still our time together, you know. My son, you know, he's in and out of the house, so I make sure we have our time. So, and I still do that, and I did that as they were growing up. To make them feel important. What they want to do, whatever they want to do, that's what we do at that time. So I learned how to do that, and people forget. We forget, and we will schedule a 7:30 meeting in the morning, knowing we've been out until midnight doing whatever. But we can't pencil in time for our kids. See, but that is the one thing, like I said, I've learned over the years how to do almost everything. You know, and people who know me, when I say almost everything, I had nails this long and I could still type and do everything. So, you know, I've learned. Change the I think Raquel said the 15-year-old car. My daughter can tell you we always had old cars because I never invested in a new car because I had kids.
Right.
Plus
Right.
that
What's the
extra money
point?
goes to them and went
Right.
to them. So, you know, if something went wrong, I could get under that hood because that's how I was raised. You know, you could do everything. My daddy taught me how to do whatever. So she never could figure out how, then I guess that's what tools are for. You just have to know what tool. So the tools in our life, just like the tools a mechanic uses, make things happen.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Lillian just snatched out of my mouth. It is my belief that, I'm probably a little out of the box up here, balance is BS. You choose what is priority in your life, and you act accordingly. So when I opened my salon and spa, and my daughter was very young, my daughter was my priority. So I didn't schedule appointments during certain times. The reason that I became an entrepreneur, because as a single mother, I never wanted anybody telling me I couldn't go to my daughter's dance recital. I didn't want anybody telling me I couldn't be there to watch her cheer. So it may be a little bit different for those in the corporate world, but when you are an entrepreneur building your own business, it is my philosophy that you structure the life that you want first, and you create a business that fits the life that you want.
I'm gonna add a snap.
Okay.
Let me say, as being the president of the National Association for Moms in Business, okay, I probably deal with this more than anybody else. I get this question by everybody from, it's like, really, could you ask me something else? That, or, how'd you, get back up? And it's like, really, I was hungry. You want the real answer?
I want the
Just
real
want me to
answer.
just tell you, oh my gosh, because there was a All right, so here's a couple things that I do that may be helpful to you, is that I have things that I call non-negotiables, okay? And I write those down. One of them is I pick my kid up every day from school. That's our time together. My mom does her hair every morning, and if I try to do her hair, my mother would wrestle me before she would let me do my own kid's hair. Okay, so I let my mother do all of that, and then from the time we leave to the door till her school, we have Mommy Devin time. And then I'm there waiting as soon as she gets out of school. If I have a client, sorry, I'm walking you out my door so I can go meet her every day at 3 o'clock, right? We have Mommy Devin days all the time. So yesterday was our Mommy Devin day, so that today I could be here with you. She gave me very strict instructions to not come home without no money. So those of you who haven't purchased my book yet,
Right.
please do so. I said, yes, ma'am, because we have, our deal that we do. So it's, what happens is that you have to put the laptop down when you're at home.
Yes.
Okay? And when you're with them, you have to be present more than
Yes.
anything else. So I found out she was doing her homework, I was in there doing my homework, right? And she kept struggling with words that I knew she knew, and I was like, read to me, and because I wasn't paying attention. As soon as I shut the laptop, put it away, then she just flowed, she was reading like she was reading the Wall Street Journal. And I went, duh, hello, it's because I wasn't paying attention to her.
Message.
Right? So I had to focus and make sure that, it's in the telephone business, when they call me and I was at home, I go, for real? Is somebody dead? No, nobody's dead, but I just have a quick question. You couldn't. Because this is not going to save nobody's life. I'll talk to you in the morning. So you have to be very strict about your time, and what makes us happy is our business. Right? I love being on stage. I love to speak. I love when you guys laugh at old jokes. That's just my thing. But I also love being with my daughter and spending that time with her and knowing. And so it's really of choosing what you're going to do each day and then making sure that you stick to that. Our time is 5 to 8. I put her to bed at 8 o'clock. I lay in there with her till 8:30, and then from 8:30 to midnight, I'm back working. But I don't try to do it at the same time. So kind of like the dishes. Okay, when you get home, if you work from home, do you?
No.
Okay, that's nice, because folks who work at home, they're always trying, they walk past the dishes and then they stop to do those, and then they feel bad about not doing the email, then they go and they get in front of the computer, and then they're guilty about put a load of wash on, because that can all be working. No, you gotta stop that. Talk about my green pen theory. I think I told that example to like 100 people who came by my booth today. Do the things that make you money first, because the dishes will wait. So my mother says to me, look at that bedroom. My mother's 71. I go, you know how old I am? She said, no. I said, I'm damn near 50. She said, really? Are you? I'm like, thanks, Mom. But I know how to take out the trash. I know how to clean my room. But that's not the top of my list.
That's right.
And she said, well, what in the world could you be teaching your daughter? That is just, oh my God. I said, hopefully that she'll grow up and take care of her. Get Mom. That's what I'm teaching my daughter. And she said, oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you very much. I love you. I said, I love you too. And we parted ways. But if you're not, people will make you feel guilty. It's everybody else around you making you feel like you're not doing the right thing. You're doing the best thing for you. My daughter knows that this is what we do, and she's proud of me. She tells everybody my mommy's famous. She can't wait. She goes, do you know my mommy? My mommy's famous. And so it's like, that's how it's supposed to be. And they love to watch you, but they like to use the guilt too. Even though, so I make deals with the devil.
Okay.
I go, when I get home, you get $20. How much? $20. Can I have $50? No. Do I really want the Barbie cafe? Whatever. So that's how I do it. But hopefully it'll work out for you.
Thank you.
It will.
Any other questions?
Yes,
Oh, come on now.
Lily-
You already asked the question now. Hold on. Anybody over there? Everybody else?
they don't want to answer.
Nobody?
They
Really? You gonna let her just die? All right, I'll let you ask one.
Okay. Lillian has known me a long time, and listening to you ladies today, it just registered. Since 1993, I have been sick with cancer. I've had cancer 4 times. Wow. And it just registered listening to your daughter that my sons, I have 2 sons. I have a 38-year-old and a 39-year-old. I'll be 64 in April. My kids are angry. They're angry because I was sick. And I have always tried, in between my illnesses, to do something positive to make them proud of me. And I couldn't do it.
Or maybe it's time to stop crying.
And that's what I got from you women today, that I have to do for me.
Yeah.
And if you're mad because I was diagnosed with something that I had no control over, that's on you.
She's gonna say you got control.
They're making babies. Okay, I'm happy to be a grandma, but they're making babies and they're in relationships, but they have not separated me from that. They're angry with me.
They're not angry with you, they're angry with themselves.
But what,
And because their life is not going where they want to be,
Right.
so they take it out on you, and it has nothing to do with you.
I don't think they're
Can I
angry
say
because you're
something?
ill.
There's nothing to do with your illness, trust me on that one.
I don't think they're angry because you're ill.
I have one daughter, but I have 4 grandkids. My grandson is 18 years old, the oldest one, and I help raise him. But I know that has nothing to do with you at all. It has something to do with them. So if you switch it around and try to feel sorry for them, then your love will come back up and you give them the hug they need. They're suffering more than anything.
Can I jump in? I have a 24-year-old daughter.
You look good, girl.
Thank you.
That's why we keep telling y'all that.
And for years, my daughter was angry for my absence, my emotional absence, my spiritual absence during the period of time of the misdiagnosis, and then when I was suffering from depression, right? It took me almost 8 years to come back from that and all that it, all that the experience led to in my life. And what I had to recognize is that her feelings are valid, because children need a fully present parent. And so whether we are sick or not, that's what they need, right? And I separate that, what they need, from what I was capable of doing at the time, but I still honor her feelings. So her anger, even at 24, and those wounds, because just like I was hurt and wounded, she was hurt and wounded. My daughter shared with me how frightening it was to think that her mother was going to die and leave her when she was a child. Those are valid feelings that our children have when we are experiencing some type of illness, a terminal illness, a depression. They're worried about whether or not we're going to be there from day to day. They're valid feelings, and just because they have matured to a certain biological age, it doesn't mean that their feelings are not still valid. So if I can share with you and anyone else in the room that may have had an experience similar to ours, is that you honor their feelings and that you let them share what they are feeling. And if you need to get help, you need to go to counseling, you need to get therapy, you need spiritual help, you do that.
They need your love.
I can come from a different angle. Can I do that?
I'm sorry, can I?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I thought you were done. Oh, forgive me.
What I was
can't hear you
gonna
down
say
there.
is that we have taken on, as women, fighting for, our empowerment or whatever, we've taken on this armor that says we're strong enough to deny our emotions. Your children's feelings are valid. And there's a part of me, I'll speak for me, there's a part of me as a mother that although I was physically present, I emotionally abandoned my daughter, taking care of me. And I did what I needed to do to survive. But now that I'm whole, now that I'm complete, my responsibility as a mother doesn't end. So my daughter has wounds. I'm responsible for helping her to heal those wounds. Because in all honesty, how can I go out and help heal the rest of the world if I don't heal what's going on at home?
you know what I used to get from them all the time? But mommy, you don't look sick. I don't know what it is to look sick. And I went through the gauntlet of the chemo and the radiation. I felt that I looked bad. But they said, mommy, you don't look sick. So I was trying to continue to do my community work and the whole 9 yards. But they just kept saying, but mommy, you don't look sick. And I think that's where they're angry, because I should have looked like and acted like a sick person.
Actually, I think they're in denial. Right. I believe that is an indication of the denial.
That I was sick.
Yes. Of their denial.
They're denied.
You know you're ill. Your medical people have said you're ill. They know you're ill, but they're in denial. They don't want to lose their mom. So they're in denial that you are going through the serious conditions that you have been going through for the past few years.
Perhaps the anger is that.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so it's a mixture of everything, like from whatever I'm hearing everybody say, you're their mommy. They're still calling you mommy. They're saying,
Yeah.
mommy, you don't look
40
sick.
years old, they call me mom.
So there's a fear that they're going to lose their mother, and then a denial because you're not looking sick. So, okay, I don't really have to embrace the fact that I'm going to lose her because she doesn't look sick. So now I'm mad at her for telling me that she's sick and me even having to go through these emotions
Yeah.
because I don't want to lose her. So I'm not really going to lose her. It's a whole conglomeration of things.
Exactly.
So,
Out of the mouth of babes.
you know,
Well, she
maybe
knows. I mean, I had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And she
and
said,
she's a cancer survivor.
and, yeah,
Yes.
and I'm a cancer survivor, so I've been there. She's been with me 1,000% along the way, whereas my son, he took a left turn, he wouldn't even face it. He wouldn't face it at all. My oldest daughter, she's tuned out. It's like, she went into depression, Dee Dee. She just got really depressed. I mean, it was about her. She couldn't handle, she can't handle it. So Rose knows exactly what your children are going through because she has a sister and a brother who are the same way. And then I've got a younger one who is younger than Rose, who just got mad. She's just an angry bird. She is just angry. Anytime I get sick, she's just angry. She's ready to kill the doctor, beat up the nurses, rampage the hospital, and my career. Teacher, right? I mean, but everyone handles things differently. And depending on the personalities, that's how they handle
So
it.
you're not doing
It's not you.
anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong, so.
Because I'm trying to come out now, because I haven't been out. My last bout was with thyroid cancer, that was last year. And now that I'm doing much better, I'm starting to come out into the community. And I'm angry with them and want to cry because they're angry with me. Because
That's why you're having cancer 4 times, because you're dealing with anger, right? It's you, if you
Raise
keep
your
the anger,
voice.
then you don't have it
Speak your
4
truth.
times. That's what affecting you to get more sick all the time.
Yeah, and anger really is a surface emotion. Beneath that is what Rosemarie just said is the fear. So what my daughter shared with me is that like I love my daughter, she loves me, but it's cautious love, right? She loves me cautiously because she doesn't know, because in her formative years, I was sick, then I was well, then I was sick, then I was well. You understand what I'm saying? So your children love you cautiously. They love you apprehensively. They love you tentatively. They love you fearfully because mama might be here today, she might not be here tomorrow, right? You are going back into the community to do your work. Let me lovingly suggest to you, sister, that you do work in your home with your children. And I'm not saying be a victim to their anger. I'm saying that
well, they're not in the home now.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I understand.
the home of your heart.
Yeah, thank you.
So your conversation with your children may be, I understand that you have some anger, some fear, some feelings around, my illness and my sickness. I would love to help you heal. I'm here to hear you, to talk to you, but you don't have to become a victim to their anger. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know you wanted to say
Ann's been
something.
wanting to say something.
Are you okay? Okay. I know I talked a lot up there, but I don't usually talk when I was on the other side of that. My mother had me when she was 15 years old. She was a victim of multiple rape, okay? She could have chosen then. Even in those days, you could still choose.
Yes.
All along, she was trying to take herself out of this world. All along, okay? She succeeded at an age younger than mine right now. She had cancer twice. She tried to commit suicide. Now, as a child, from my side, I'm going, man, she must not love me, okay? And everything that we do is a call for love. If it comes from fear-based, hatred, anger, it's a call for love. All I was trying to do was love her, and what I perceived was she was trying to take herself out. She ended up dying of heart disease. She was an avid smoker. She had had breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and then the heart disease. What more can a person ask for, right? And at her funeral, we had had a conversation I was thankful for prior to that, because we had to deal with, how did all this happen? How did all this happen? And she left me when I was 12, and I was raised by my grandparents, okay? The long and short of it is, I had a conversation with her when I was 32 years old, and she finally told me the truth about all of her life. And at that point, she gave me the opportunity to forgive her, okay, which was very, very critical in our lives. And at that point, she could then forgive me for saying the things that I, said to her all the years I had anger about, why are you trying to take yourself out? And I do remember going up to the casket and saying, you finally did it. You finally did it. But at that point, I had released all of that anger and that fear based, that was nonsense, and I embraced her. And at that point, it didn't matter whether she died or not, because I knew we were okay with each other and we loved each other. We always had. But I never got the opportunity until I was way too old to, so I'm encouraging you to just have a conversation with your children to clear that nonsense up, because it is just nonsense. They love you, you love them, and you just gotta convey that to whatever level you can while you're still in this body. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question. Does anyone have any questions?
Please, somebody over there.
Or anyone over here? Any more questions? Where?
They
You got
want
a
a
question?
raffle.
Oh,
They're here for the raffle.
Okay,
We're done,
so,
we're done.
yeah,
So
we're-
then
okay,
we're done.
so, thank you. I hope that you enjoyed the panel part of the discussion, got to know a little more about the speakers and how they might have inspired you and empowered you in some way. And I think the speakers, for your candidness, everything that's really
You've all
great.
been marvelous. Beyond. Women are incredible.
So I guess, and you guys can stay here, or you guys can walk off the stage, well, it doesn't matter, I'd rather stay here, but. Well, I know everyone's waiting for their raffle. So we actually have several
I
prizes.
forgot about it.
Uh-oh.
I forgot.